Greetings, dear, precious, magnificent spirit soul that you are. Just a little reminder, using your breath to empower you. The oxygen as you breathe in through your nose into your heart, conscious here. You're also being conscious of your unity with the divine, who you are and what you're part of. Your source, your partner, your beloved. My topic. Beyond birth and death. As a little kid, when I heard about death, I was like, oh no, we could die with this. And then I thought about the coffin, you got the bodies. And so I asked my mom, would I get a pillow? And she said, well, yeah. Well, then I thought, well, mine's comfortable. Okay, I'll be okay in there, I guess, because I'll have a pillow. Now I don't even sleep with a pillow, but in those days. So, and then asking the questions, and then somebody dies in the family, and sitting around. And I remember that when this grandfather left his body, and people are all sitting around, they're kind of crying and going over what, they're grieving, whatever. Well, my little sister, I found out later that this guy had molested her, this creep, and I could never stand him anyway. But anyway, so she's only about 7 years old, and when everybody's crying, she just says, well, no use crying over spilled milk. There was kind of a clue. But they're all looking at death. And then I remember when seeing my great-grandmother's body in the coffin and touching that, knowing, well, no one's there. It's obviously the body was vacated. That's what happened. Well, just these different steps. And then perceiving more into that when I was studying spiritual teachings, and I was also singing, I would be asked to sing at funerals. So some of the funerals, and I would sing, and then there would be the coffin. And I remember this one, I was sitting behind the coffin, and after it was over, the people that would walk by would all look at the body and would say, gosh, she looks great. Well, you mean she looks better dead than alive? The comments people would make. And then would talk about stuff, and then they go, well, what's for lunch? And I started to look, here this person, here's the remains of that lifetime in this body form. And then the people that she was, so concerned about what they thought about her and what they said about her and what they were doing and all that, they come and look and say, you look better dead than alive. And then their next concern is what's for their lunch. But yet your whole life was lived in the fear of these people and what they would say and what they would do to you. And that, so different times, and I'm looking for clues. And when I was in high school, I really didn't like to read, but I was more athlete, theater, sports, service, this kind of a thing. And because there really wasn't anything I really, really wanted to read much about. And then in the library, there was a book on reincarnation. I went, ooh, what's this? So you mean you come back, or you've been here before? You mean you don't die? So just these questions. And then what happens, too, is a lot of people, they're told by whatever is their religious group or their teaching and then they limit themselves and stop because they're told, well, this is how it is. This is how it is. This is where you go. This is what you do. Well, wait a minute. Who wrote the books? And who's, always follow the money line, too. It's a very good thing to do, money and power. And it's then something you're supposed to believe, but you don't really know about because it's the so-called unknown and touching all of this. Okay, anyway. And then going along in different things where I had so many past life experiences through different processes, breathing processes, meditation, clearing processes. I did a lot of breathing underwater, and it says with a snorkel and such for a long, long time. Got really powerful energies. But anyway, always looking for God. Always like, what's the truth? Who am I? Where am I? Where am I going? Where have I been? What do I do? I mean, really, that's all what it is. And okay, and so then also then beginning and getting into the study, the Bhagavad Gita, and that goes, I studied the teachings of Jesus according to, the New Testament metaphysical, and then I shifted over to the Essenes, and the health and all that, and that, okay, and really getting into what is the essence of these teachings about me and who I am and what's possible for me, and also what's possible for you and who you are, to share what I do is my findings. So anyway, and the stronger it became. And what a lot of people do is they don't want to look because they're so afraid. They don't even want to look. They don't even want to know. They're just going to go along. They don't know. This is you. You have to be you and be proactive in who you are, because this is it. This is what happens to us and who we are. So the whole thing beyond birth and death, and then studying the Bhagavad Gita, which is fabulous, and another book, and people, well, you can't read this, and this is what it is, and then you get people interpreting all of this. Like, don't really give any credence to any kind of a researcher who would do their researching on Wikipedia. Really? And there was someone I liked a lot of stuff, but then I got to a certain point. He was trying to prove something. He wasn't a real researcher, because if you already have a preconceived notion of what you're going to do, then you're looking to find information that validates that. So that's what you'll find, or you'll justify it and change it to make sure it says that, because that's your agenda. That's what you're conspiring to do. Okay? So anyway, wanting to get the truth, it's you have to go to the root of it all, and that is your investment in your spiritual life. This is most important. This is your priority, is who you are. And if you limit yourself through fear and on the promises of say, a false God, because when it says God said, well, which God? I mean, where are you coming from? What's that idea? What's the concept of it? What's the definition of it? Because in the world of words, then death means something, birth means something. It means you didn't exist, now you exist, then you don't exist, then you lose. Well, when you start noticing what's going on, and then using this knowledge, or the ancient knowledge, and then moving more into the teachings of what is setting up this reality, and why it's happening in the way, and what we believe is death and birth, and who we really are, then in that knowledge, we go beyond birth and death. And yes, we can perceive that in this world, things start, just like, around there's, a lot more trees up here falling away and leaving their bodies, really, up at this place. And I could see it behind. Okay. So you could perceive things dying, and you could perceive, here's a new little tree right here. And just a moment ago, I had just a little teeny bit of it, not much, of the branch. I don't want to hurt it too much, and just ate that because there's so much food that you can eat in this triangle. So it's just, they're yummy, 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 and it's a really powerful medicine as well. So you could perceive the birth and the young life and the death and all of this. It goes through, also I could see the body, the hands change and all of that. And I could also notice that a lot of this also comes from the change in what we're eating, what's in the air that we're breathing, what's in the water, what's in the elements that are also making changes in the physical world that we are in or perceiving. And yet, so to go beyond birth and death is to be situated fully in who you are. And that when you do that, at what you call death or leaving your body, you don't go outside to the light or to a tunnel or to someone else or to anybody saying, come over here and I'm going to tell you who you are and what you're going to do and what you got to go through and what you got handlers and all. And then they get all the programming that's going to tell you about what they're going to tell you what it is. So you get ready because you think it is, but you really don't know. And when you really do this work, you do know. And it is not what anyone says, it's not light or dark. It's not any of that. And it's always about you have never been anywhere except right now where you are. This is who you are. And from there, the more you're in who you are, and that's how you are then also perceiving from this, and you are experiencing who you are. And in this, you are take maximum advantage of this now. And this is it. You are it. Not this, but now is it. And when you're there is no birth or death. You witness, you go through, and yet when we identify that, we forget who we are. We're completely absorbed in a sense of living and experiencing this self, this false self perhaps, this persona or this reality or this movie or this show or this reality. We get lost in it rather than remembering who we are. And I think as Jesus said, you want to be in this world but not of it. Now that's a truth, because I don't even want to be, it's not I want to be in the world, is that I am here now, just as you are now, right there where you are. You are eternity, and you are living your eternity, and you are already with God and the divine. We are already unified. You cannot become, because you'll never be there. You must be. And in the being, you can only be now. Not a future now. There is no future now. There is no past now. There's only now. And when your now is a conscious now, being here, breathing, witnessing, observing, tuning in, listening, sensing, loving, beyond birth and death to you. Boy, are these really good pine needles, you wouldn't believe it. Did you have some?